Hello, and welcome to my dining room. That's what I always say. I am Matthew, aka Sheep, aka Dark Sheep, aka the MLB Resurrection hopeful. I heard some rumors of it, but yeah, I don't know. Just hang out, talk baseball where we're at. Maybe about if there's a tournament coming, what we might be looking for, and yeah, let's draft some late night diamond after dark while we talk. This thing's almost pretty full. Got about half an hour. No, we don't need this. Let's do that. Got my rankings set up for a short slate. Usually, maybe I don't want to be there. Block the player pool too much. There we go. That looks better. Yeah. So for a short slate like this, 2, 3, 4 games, I usually just jam all my pitchers up here at the top in the rankings. In order of projections, and then sort of just kind of hang out and see how the draft falls, and usually take a maybe Dustin May is a little early pick on this one, but for the most part, a lot of these guys, well, it's hard to say. None of them stand out, but projections don't really stand out on anyone in particular. So, but yeah, we got obviously this Dodgers group at the top, and projections like St. Louis, and sort of a mix from there. Yeah, that's how I have them set up. My bad projections for Underdog. That's what I usually use. Yeah, so let's go. So we start with Will Smith, who is the highest projected Underdog guy. So we'll go with let's take Freddie. Let's maybe grab a couple of Dodgers and then build another team stack. Kind of low key. Should we? Might be time to feed some ducks. If anybody's hanging out, a little background music. Should really figure out how to do other songs, royalty-free stuff. I don't know. All right, so we got Dodgers. We got Max Muncy left. Let's jam him in here, and let's start with this. St. Louis outfielders hanging out up top here. This is probably how most of these drafts are going to go. They're going to be pretty Dodger heavy, and then a mix of stuff. So either you want to pick some weird Dodger options, some of these lower projected Dodger guys, to mix in with your stacks, or maybe avoid them entirely, or I don't know. The key thing for me on like a 2-game contest like this is just to make sure that I'm not overlapping my hitters and pitchers too much, and then sort of I don't care what I get in terms of hitters. Yeah, but Dustin May's gone first, as expected. I imagine Drew Rucinski is going to hang around. Flaherty's going to be taken a lot, and then it's going to be, if you wait, it's going to be a choice between Rucinski and Sessa. So let's grab a 3-man Dodgers. See what opponent for pitcher. So we see, let's see, book them. Yeah, Bookham took Cincinnati guys, so we know he won't be taking Rukinski. Looks like he's taking a mix of teams here. All right, well let's just take Paul Goldschmidt if he's gonna be hanging out here. We don't have Dustin May, so I'm fine with that. It's a pretty chalky build, but I don't know how many teams are gonna have Goldschmidt in. These Dodger guys, I don't know. Interesting. Not what I expected to be happening. But yeah, I wish we knew for sure that we were going to get like a in-season tournament this year. It was hinted at by our friend of the show, Brendan Tuma. He was talking about. He was answering Newman the other day about wonder what it would be like to know what people thought of Tatis as an outfielder rest of season, which seemed to imply that we might get a rest of season tournament at some point. All right, we'll just take the Lars Nootbaar here and I don't know, kind of have a nutty stats. I guess these are 3 people tournaments, so we can just take whoever we want out of Sessa and Rukinski. Let's just take Louis Sessa. He's, man, I don't know. This doesn't really matter who you take there. Neither of those options are great. Just sort of hoping one of them survives. Both going up against bad teams, pitchers against bad teams. Yeah, let's jump into a couple more of these. It is interesting. I did tweet something the other day about it's nice to have a hey, what's up, Newey? If you're watching, he's probably just drafting in real life and down the late slate the other day. When I tweeted something about now that Best Ball Mania is announced, they can go ahead and do the big announcement of the Dinger Resurrection, which would be nice. It got a like by Rudman, so they're at least paying attention. Brendan's hinting at it. I would hope we would have it soon, and that it would start after the All-Star break. That'd be my guess. Seems like a good chop-off point. I would like it number 1 because then I would be not tempted to start into football draft, which I really kind of want to avoid this year. I'm sure I'll jump into it at some point, but if I have baseball to draft. All right, Flaherty goes early. Newey takes Freeman. We'll take a little Mookie, Will Smith, stack to start, and then we can go anywhere from there. I would like to see how big we could actually get a resurrection contest. I don't know. I'm not too hopeful that it's huge, but it doesn't really matter to me, to be honest. I'm still going to play it. It'd be very interesting to see how people react if there is, a lot of early season reactions. It's likely Newman takes May, which opens up St. Louis again to us. We can go anywhere. We can go Cincinnati, Oakland. Let's take Stevenson first. So our top projected Cincinnati guys are still there, and India's gone, so he's building that stack. Let's go ahead and build some Oakland. Let's take Estuary Ruiz and take Brent Rooker, who has been hot, as they like to say. So yeah, this is fine. We can wait and just take Drew again with this team. And this is sort of the wash, rinse, repeat of these short slates and small drafts. Just sort of build in these combinations. That's always my goal. 2-man, 3-man stacks, or 4-1. I don't know. Obviously, if we get a resurrection style contest rest of the season, it'd be nice. We can do some rankings of stuff before that. Imagine just open. I don't know how ADP would start. ADP. Well, if everyone's just going to let me have Paul Goldschmidt every draft, I will take Paul Goldschmidt every draft. Alright, let's jump in another one. Waiting for one person. So I want to, maybe while we're doing this, fire up some stuff here. This is something I do usually a little bit later in the season, after the month or so that we have. I don't really know how useful this is, if there's a big enough sample size, but I'd like to go to the Baseball Savant expected stats rankings. So let's filter out, let's see, 50 balls in play. Seems like a good, I don't think we're at 100 balls in play yet. Just Nico Horner. He's the only guy so far with 100 balls in play. Yeah, let's go with 50. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Can we see that? Oh, beautiful. All right, we're on the clock. We are number 1 here. Jay Witz is in all these. He's probably going to take Cincinnati again. So let's start off. Let's get a Dustin May share here. All right. So the thing I like to look at, and like I said, it's still a little bit early, but something I do periodically as the season is going on to try and find some undervalued and overvalued players, even to try and make some opinions in daily contests, is take a look at these differences. So we'll start with slugging. I think that's the most interesting. We'll do Smith and Mookie with Dustin May. Seems like everybody's trying to get cute with Cincinnati here against, I mean, it makes sense. Against a bad pitcher, against a terrible Oakland bullpen that just keeps giving up runs, so can't really blame them. But yeah, so it's, yeah, I mean, batting average is, we can look at BABIP and kind of some other stuff. Maybe get an idea of who's getting lucky in terms of batting average or whatever, but I think expected slugging difference is an interesting thing to look at. Back on the clock. Let's take Max Muncy. And James Outman. We'll just make a big Dodger stack here and throw in some weird player. Let's go with a Shea Langoliers here. I'm sure he's not going to last, but clean up Shea Langoliers. ourselves another draft. Let's keep it rolling. So yeah, let's see. Who do we got on top here? So actually, the number 2 ranked and number 1 are at the top of the differentials here, which is a definite sign that these guys are getting more production than what baseball savant metrics think they should be. So, and I kind of think slugging is better, especially in a scoring format like Underdog, where doubles, home runs, and that kind of stuff are really valued. So, we got Brandon Marsh here. I don't think anybody's getting too off the rails. Oh, that's not the right phrase, but we'll go with it. I don't think anybody's getting too over their skis on Brandon Marsh. I don't think he would jump up too terribly high in an Underdog in a rest of the season. He definitely get a boost in value, but he's really outperforming his slugging, his expected slugging. So definitely don't want to get too crazy on a guy like him. Harold Ramirez, similar thing. I know I've gotten some. I've been taking some Harold Ramirez in dailies as far as trying to get different Tampa Bay stacks on a day that they're popular. This usually isn't part of that. So that's interesting to see him up here. A couple of guys I wouldn't expect to see up here. And Hunter Renfroe and Rowdy Tellez. So that's pretty interesting. 2 guys that have hit a lot of home runs, relatively a lot of home runs on the season so far. Yan Gomes also. But these guys are up here in these upper. That's Yasmani Grandal. He's definitely a void. I don't think anybody would be taking him rest of season anyway. But yeah, this is interesting. 2 guys to see here, Hunter Renfroe and Rowdy Tellez. Their batting averages and their WOBA, Hunter Renfroe's WOBA was a little bit up compared to what was expected. Let's see, we're on the clock. We missed Dustin May, I guess, on this. Let's go for, let's ignore these Dodgers. Oh, well, there you go. This is what happens when I'm thinking about other things. We'll take the 2 St. Louis guys against Dustin May. That's kind of a throwaway. Oh well. Let's just what we'll do for that. Let's just load up in Oakland stack and turn on autopilot and ignore it and start another draft. So it goes. I think pretty low turnout here tonight. Watching, that's fine. That's fine. Seems like I don't know, people watch the draft or whatever. I can't imagine watching the NFL draft. I barely care about fantasy football or DFS. That's the only thing I have left in me for caring about football. But where were we? Yeah, so these are some interesting guys that'll probably get some hype in the rest of the season. And I know I have a ton of Rowdy Tellez in regular season, full season. But definitely seems like these guys might not keep up. And then we got kind of a cast of characters here. Yan Gomes, Tommy Edman. Tommy Edmonds and Jesus, Kevin Kiermaier. These guys all have pretty low slugging. Actually, Simeon's a really interesting name here too, but Patrick Wisdom, James Outman is interesting. These guys I definitely want to do some digging on rest of season. Their first pick. Let's just take Freddie. We'll just continue our Dodgers love. Yeah, he's definitely a guy when time comes to dig into rest of season. What he's gonna, because he's gonna get some hype. Obviously, some big hype. Outfielder for the Dodgers, who's playing every day now. He's getting better lineup position. JD Martinez is out with his back, so who knows how long those things last, usually for him. All right, let's get Cincinnati here. We don't have somebody jumping on them early like we did in the last few drafts. Let's grab India and Friedel. So that's definitely interesting. Let's go to a different leaderboard here and look at. Well, actually, you know what we forgot to do here? We forgot to sort the other way. So let's sort the other way on the guys whose expected slugging is higher than their current slugging. Let's see. Mookie's still around. People are drafting. Two different people are drafting Oakland, so we'll take Mookie. Let's just take Paul Goldschmidt. I can't refuse Paul Goldschmidt. And then let's see. Since we took Cincinnati, we're gonna take Sessa, turn on autopilot, push the plane as the kids are doing these days. Jump in another one. All right, let's check out the other opposite side of the slugging differential. So right up front, we have two guys who. Josh Naylor, Ryan Mountcastle, some infielder depth that are probably lost in Josh Naylor outfield on Underdog. I can't remember offhand, but definitely two guys that we can maybe target later in drafts than we expect in a rest of season format. Definitely think the Cleveland stack should be pretty cheap because they haven't really been performing, and Baltimore probably won't be super cheap, but interesting where Ryan Mountcastle goes in relationship to like Ellie Rushman and stuff. Then we got David Peralta, who, he's got a pretty big difference. He doesn't have a great expected WOBA, just like 333 is about average around the clock. Okay. Let's take Dustin May. So it's not like he's in for a huge season, but and he's not getting a ton of playing time. That's the biggest thing. So he's definitely not starting every day. But it is an interesting thought to go through and when the time comes, compare someone like David Peralta to James Outman. And obviously everyone's going to pick Outman in that 1-to-1, and it's not really that silly of a pick, but you see one of them overperforming and one of them underperforming, then the playing time can flip potentially if they come back the opposite way. But I'm not saying that that's likely to happen, but it's definitely a scenario that could happen. David Peralta's also probably going to end up with an injury at some point, the way that he usually runs. He's going here. Let's take a nice big stack here, like a 4-man Oakland, and see who's left over as our one-off. And then this is super interesting. This is super interesting. We have number 4 on the list, who is currently slugging .144, worse than his expected slugging. And I just realized that when I scroll down, it cuts off that top header. But yes, okay, so Paul Goldschmidt, his batting average is lower than an expected batting average, like we're expanding out here. So he's got a decent amount of balls in play. That's something you might worry about for Peralta. No, so with St. Louis really struggling, we'll say that in the nicest way possible. Let's take Langle gears here. And Ryan Noda. With St. Louis really struggling on offense, we don't, like I said last week when I was talking to Nez about expectations of teams for the rest of the season and stuff, and I fully expect St. Louis offense to get on course. They have too many good hitters and too much depth of good hitters to really keep fumbling. Like, I don't think their rotation is going to come together unless they make some trades or whatever, but they have a lot of underperformers relative to what we expect. And so if we think about it, and we think about this, the infield position rest of season, we might get really good value on Paul Goldschmidt based on what he's showing. I mean, he's I wouldn't say that anybody's saying he's doing that poorly. There's definite FUD, for lack of a better word, on St. Louis in general, that if it carries over to Paul and he's he's a third round infielder, he might be really interesting. Rest of season, he might be a really interesting target. Definitely want to see where he's going when that starts. If that starts, right? Hopefully it does. Just take whoever we took. I don't know. Whoever's at the top, I think Wilson Contreras. And our contest is full. So yeah, we got a couple other guys up here that are performing well. Sorry, George Springer's on this list. He's interesting as someone who I liked a lot in the full season and hasn't really performed. You know, he's got a better expected batting average, but yeah. Kyle Tucker here. I guess let's take 2 people here. Let's take Juan Soto first. who's not quite exactly the same scenario, who people are talking about is struggling. And definitely, I don't know, definitely is strong. If he's going to experience fall out of the first round, I don't know. That's something I was thinking about doing tonight, is like doing like a first and second round rank for rest of season. But I guess it also depends on what he does between now and when the tournament starts. But let's say it starts tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of people worried on him, and we see him show up on this list as a guy who has, a better than average expected WOBA. Not a great expected slugging, but a pretty big difference, in the batting average in the basement. I don't know. He might be someone that we get some value on. I don't know, but definitely a guy who is going to probably still go in the first round, but is currently underperforming, according to StatCast. Kyle Tucker here as number 12 on the list, with just a crazy expected WOBA. He's up there with Matt Chapman, who's just out of the park. Which some interesting, so there's some guys on here that who are performing and underperforming. If that makes any sense according to StatCast. Kyle Tucker stands out. Freddie Freeman, Aaron Judge, Matt Chapman. Although we'll have to see what happens with Judge. Haven't seen on his MRIs. Vlad's here. And we're starting to get to pretty close with Vlad and Ronnie, both being guys who are expected to be slugging and have a better expected WOBA. That's all interesting. Interesting to see what Vlad does in a ADP form. But yeah, Matt Chapman is showing here that we don't have to really worry too much. He's probably going to rise based on what he's done so far. So this is an interesting list. There's not too many people watching, so we'll just cut it off there. Hopefully you found some interesting thoughts here that I had. Maybe you learned something about short slate drafting. I don't know. It's just sort of a low-key slate, feeding the ducks and talking and hoping for a resurrection style contest. So yeah, thanks for showing up. For the couple that showed up, thanks for watching this in the future. If you hit this up, leave me any comments about if you have any questions about any players rest of season. Answer all the comments, whatever. Thanks for hanging out. Back next week. Hopefully you draft in maybe a rest of season contest and not just blabbering about it. So thank you everybody for coming, and have an awesome weekend.